On ordinary afternoon, Millionaire returned to his home without imagining what he was about to see. In middle of street, he found his little daughter playing alone, with dirty clothes and tired face, abandoned as if nobody wanted her. What he would discover afterward would not only shake his father's heart, but would forever change course of his life. What city are you watching this video from and what time is it? By the way, if you're enjoying my videos, I'd be so happy if you could subscribe to my channel and like this video. And before continuing, let me wish you health and peace. Tell me, from which country and at what time are you watching this story? Taxi stopped in front of golden stone facade of Herrera Mansion on one of quietest streets in Boston. Fresh spring air brought with it distant murmur from downtown square, where church bells still resonated. Nicolas Herrera, dark suit still wrinkled from trip from Tokyo, descended with strange sensation of returning earlier than expected. He had wanted to surprise his young wife Camilla, and above all hug his little Isabella, whom he hadn't seen in 2 weeks. While handing coins to taxi driver and receiving "thank you, sir" with characteristic accent, sound froze him inside. Sob, sharp, barely perceptible at first, emerged from damp sidewalk. He turned gaze, and what he saw left him motionless. Barefoot girl seated on ground collecting pebbles from puddle. Her yellow dress, which once had been radiant, was dirty and torn at edge. Tangled hair fell over pale face, and in arms she clung to one-eyed teddy bear. "Isabella?" Nicholas's voice trembled, incredulous. Girl slowly raised head. Her large dark eyes seemed not to recognize him. For a second she hesitated, as if that man before her were stranger. Then lips trembled, and stumbling she ran toward him. Dad, you came back!" Nicholas held her in arms. Little one's body was light, too light for her age, and gave off smell of dampness and urine that tore his heart. He clenched jaw and caressed tangled hair. "What are you doing out here, sweetheart? Where's Camilla?" Isabella hid face and neck, trembling. "Aunt Camilla said you died on plane, that you'd never come back for me." Nicholas's blood froze. He looked toward house, all curtains closed, but behind escaped strident music and male laughter. Contrast with image of daughter abandoned in street was unbearable. "How long have you been here, daughter?" "Since yesterday morning. She sent me to garden, but I got scared when it got dark, so I came to door to wait for you." Nicholas's hands clenched around small body. Girl's feet were purple, full of cuts. Without wasting more time, he carried her and climbed entrance steps. Mansion's interior hit him with penetrating smell of alcohol and cheap perfume. Living room, which he had always kept impeccable, was covered with dirty glasses, empty champagne bottles, and overflowing ashtrays. Male and female clothes lay scattered over leather sofas, silk shirt, expensive tie, wrinkled suit. Nicholas breathed deeply, containing rage boiling inside. Isabella shrank more in arms. "Dad, uncles are playing with Aunt Camilla upstairs. They make lots of noise." Each word was knife. Nicholas climbed slowly up marble staircase, hearing laughter and grave voices coming from master bedroom. He gritted teeth but didn't enter. He turned toward hallway and took Isabella to her room. What he found there definitively broke his soul. Bed unmade for days, dirty plates with rotten food remains, unbearable smell. Isabella, with timid voice, explained. "Aunt Camilla says dirty children can't enter house when there are important visitors." Nicholas almost lost balance. He looked daughter in eyes, same eyes he had seen shine with joy in other springs at park, and felt wave of guilt. How had he been so blind? He hugged little one tightly, whispering tenderly, "Forgive me, daughter. Dad is here now." Isabella looked at him with fear, but also ray of hope, and while music continued resonating upstairs, Nicholas understood that night would mark before and after in his life. Echo of male laughter made him turn toward door. Chapter hadn't ended yet. What he was about to discover would surpass any suspicion. Nicholas gently closed his daughter's room door, trying to protect her from noise still filtering from upper floor. Girl clung to worn stuffed animal, as if that piece of fabric were her only shield against world. Her large eyes followed him distrustfully, with mixture of fear and relief. "Isabella, tell me truth," he murmured, kneeling before her. "How long have you been living like this?" Girl hesitated. She counted with bony fingers and responded in low voice, "I think 5 days. Aunt Camilla said I couldn't enter house because there were important visitors. If I got dirty, I had to stay outside until they left. Nicholas felt knot in throat. Spring in Boston was cool, with sudden rains, and his daughter had spent entire nights in garden exposed to elements. "And what did you eat, daughter?" "Sometimes neighbor lady, Mrs. Marta, left me sandwich at gate, or I drank water from garden hose." Words fell like stones on Nicholas's heart. He remembered breakfast downtown when he enjoyed coffee and pastry, not imagining his daughter went hungry few meters away. Murmur of male voices descended downstairs. Isabella shuddered and hid face in father's chest. "Uncles come many times," she whispered. "They arrive in big expensive cars. Aunt Camilla puts on perfume and shiny dresses and tells me I have to stay quiet in garden." Nicholas swallowed, incapable of understanding magnitude of betrayal. "How many uncles come, sweetheart?" "Sometimes one, sometimes two, sometimes more. They always leave money in box under her bed." Businessman clenched fists. He remembered how in recent months Camilla showed herself more distant, but never imagined she was using his own house as stage for something so degrading. Sound of door slamming shut interrupted thoughts. Nicholas stood and took Isabella in arms. He couldn't allow her to continue exposed to that environment. He went down to kitchen seeking something to eat, but found only wine bottles and plates with rotten remains. Finally, in forgotten cupboard, he found package of cookies and some powdered milk. He prepared improvised cup, warming it in microwave. Isabella drank it eagerly, like someone who had waited too long. Her chapped lips stained with milk and eyes shone for instant. "Thank you, Dad. I thought you'd never come back." Nicholas caressed her hair tenderly. "I'll always come back for you, my girl. I'll never leave you alone again." At that moment, heavy steps resonated on stairs. Two men descended, one pot-bellied in robe, other young and muscular, shirtless. Upon seeing Nicholas, they froze. "Hey, sorry, man," older one said nervously. "Camilla didn't say you had husband." Nicholas maintained calm, though fury devoured him inside. "Husband? What the hell are you doing in my house?" "We pay, brother," younger one responded, shrugging. She said mansion was hers. "She charges expensive, but it's worth it." Isabella squeezed father's hand, trembling. Nicholas placed her behind him, ready to protect her. At that instant, Camilla appeared in transparent nightgown with disheveled hair. Upon seeing him there, she lost all face color. "Nicholas, what surprise! I didn't expect you back today." Men took advantage of distraction and left quickly, murmuring apologies and curses. Silence became heavy. "What does all this mean?" Nicholas asked with low, contained voice. Camilla tried to smile as if she could mask scene. "It's not what it seems." Isabella, still with glass in hand, spoke before father. "Dad, Aunt Camilla always says if I tell something, you'll get angry with me and never let me come again." Nicholas felt rage burn inside. He knelt and looked daughter in eyes. "No, little one. Dad will never get angry with you for telling truth. You can always tell me everything." Camilla frowned, annoyed, and replied coldly. "Girl exaggerates. She's always been very dramatic." But Isabella shook head with silent tears. Kitchen clock marked midnight. Outside, city lights still twinkled, and from nearby tavern came echo of guitars and clapping, typical of Boston night. Nicholas knew then that conversation was barely beginning. There were too many secrets hidden between those walls, and soon someone would come to confirm it with irrefutable proof. Kitchen silence became unbearable. Nicholas held Isabella against chest, while Camilla, wrapped in nightgown, tried to appear calm. Girl wouldn't stop trembling, as if expecting new punishment any moment. Suddenly, doorbell resonated forcefully, breaking that tension. Nicholas frowned. At that hour of night, nobody usually called. He walked toward entrance with Isabella still in arms and opened. Before him appeared older woman, with hair pulled in simple bun and eyes reddened from crying so much. "Mr. Herrera," she said with trembling voice. "It's me, Mrs. Mercedes." Isabella immediately raised head. "Mrs. Mercedes," she exclaimed, stretching little arms toward her. Woman let out sob and tenderly caressed girl's face. "My little one, how I've missed you." Nicholas let her in. Smell of cheap perfume and party alcohol still permeated air, but ancient employees' presence brought breath of dignity to environment. Camilla appeared in hallway, livid. "What are you doing here?" she spat with barely contained hostility. Mrs. Mercedes wasn't intimidated. She placed purse on entrance table and opened it with decided gesture. "I've come because I could no longer stay silent, Mr. Nicholas. I bring proof of everything your wife has done in this house." Nicholas felt shudder. Camilla took a step back, nervous. "Don't listen to her. She's lying," she tried to reply. But woman first took out old notebook with pages full of notes, dates, times, descriptions of cars and men entering and leaving. "Here you have it. Every visit, every night girl was left outside in garden. I wrote it all down." Nicholas leafed through notebook with trembling hands. There was everything. March 15th, 2 p.m., tall man, black Mercedes. Isabella in patio until 7 p.m. without food. And so dozens of pages. Girl, hidden behind Mercedes's skirt, intervened with tiny voice. "It's true, Dad. She brought me sandwich when Aunt Camilla wasn't watching." Camilla paled even more. "Enough," she shouted. "This is conspiracy against me." Mercedes didn't flinch. She took from purse envelope with photographs, spread them on table. Blurry but clear images of Isabella soaked under rain, hugging teddy bear. Girl drinking water from hose. Little body sleeping on patio floor. Nicholas brought hand to mouth, incapable of containing emotion. He felt daughter's moist gaze fixed on him. "How could you allow this, Camilla?" he whispered. She looked away, crossing arms with defensive gesture. Exaggerations. That girl was always problematic. Employee shook head and finally took out small old recorder. She pressed button and Camilla's voice flooded room. "Stop spoiling that brat or I'll throw you out on street. And if you talk to Nicholas, I'll invent you were stealing." Subsequent silence was brutal. Isabella began crying softly, hiding in Mercedes' lap. Nicholas closed eyes, breathing with difficulty. "Is there more?" Mercedes added, taking out another recording. "In it," Camilla said coldly. "Girl is becoming bothersome. Perhaps convenient to intern her in clinic. That way I get rid of her once and for all." Nicholas felt blood boil. He looked at Camilla with mixture of disbelief and contained fury. "You wanted to send my daughter to asylum to silence her?" She didn't respond, limiting herself to lowering gaze. Environment became thick, charged with resentment and fear. Outside, distant echo of guitars in tavern reminded city continued alive, oblivious to drama developing between those walls. Mrs. Mercedes took Nicholas's hand. "Sir, I knew one day you'd return and would have to know truth. I've kept all this to protect girl." Isabella looked at him with moist eyes, seeking in face promise of security. Nicholas hugged her tightly, swearing silently he would never again allow anyone to hurt her. Camilla, standing next to stairs, knew her facade of perfect wife was crumbling, and what would come after would be much worse than reproachful looks. Night in mansion became endless. After Mrs. Mercedes's revelations, Nicholas could barely sleep. He spent hours sitting on sofa with Isabella sleeping in lap, while recording words thundered in mind. Wall clock marked 3 in morning when he finally made decision. He couldn't allow that situation to go unpunished. Next morning, Boston sky dawned gray, loaded with clouds foretelling rain. Nicholas prepared Isabella simple breakfast, toast with jam and glass of warm milk. Girl devoured it with mixture of hunger and relief. Mrs. Mercedes, still tired from previous night's emotion, served Nicholas coffee and looked at him firmly. "Sir, you have power to end all this, but must act with caution. Camilla isn't alone. She has dangerous contacts." Nicholas nodded. He remembered faces of men who had passed through house. Luxury cars parked in front of door. He understood behind all that were doctors, businessmen, even politicians, and each had reputation to protect. That same afternoon, while Isabella played in living room with dolls Mercedes had rescued from attic, Nicholas left with decided step. He first went to office of old friend, trusted lawyer, in historic building near downtown square. "I need your help, Alvaro," he told him without beating around bush, placing notebook and photos on table. "Here you have proof my wife converted my house into brothel, even using my daughter as hostage." Lawyer leafed through pages with grave expression. "This is serious, Nicholas, but if you want to win, must expose it correctly. We could denounce her, yes, but justice here..." He paused, sighing. "You know how it works when politicians and judges are involved?" "Then I'll go directly to them," Nicholas replied with hard voice. "I won't allow them to continue hiding. I'll make each family know who shared table with traitors." Lawyer looked at him with astonishment, understanding he wasn't speaking from personal revenge, but for daughter's dignity. That night, Nicholas returned home with plan in mind. He began seeking addresses, reviewing old contacts and preparing anonymous letters with photo fragments and recording excerpts. He wanted truth to reach those men's homes first, not courts. Following days were silent storm. In neighborhood, rumors grew. Some neighbors remembered seeing official cars parked in front of mansion. Others spoke of parties extending until dawn. Isabella, meanwhile, began gradually recovering trust. In mornings, Nicholas took her by hand to school, crossing cobblestone streets where aroma of freshly made donuts mixed with cafes. Each step with her was a reminder of new role he had decided to assume. One Friday afternoon, Nicholas received first call. It was wife of famous plastic surgeon in city. Her voice trembled with rage. "How did you get these photos? Who gave you these recordings?" "Doesn't matter how I got them," Nicholas responded calmly. "What matters is now you know truth. Ask your husband." There was long silence, broken only by woman's contained crying. Finally, she hung up, leaving him with weight of decision that no longer had turning back. Following days, more calls arrived. Judge's wife, recognized hotelier, even councilman's sister. Each conversation ended in tears, screams, or absolute silence. Families began breaking. Scandals came to light in city's private circles. Camilla, cornered, gradually lost security she had always shown. She no longer received calls from accomplices, and in neighborhood streets they began avoiding her. One afternoon, returning from market, a group of neighbor women looked at her with open contempt, murmuring under breath. "That's her," older woman whispered. "The one who abandoned girl." Camilla quickened pace with face burning with shame. In-house, Nicholas observed everything with mixture of satisfaction and bitterness. It wasn't about destroying lives for sport, but forcing each one to face consequences of actions. Each of Isabella's tears, each night she spent alone under rain, demanded justice. Echo of scandals spread like fire in Boston. Each day new news arrived at downtown square cafes. Judge who had disappeared from hearings, businessmen canceling trips abroad, doctor whose clinic dawned deserted. Letters and proof sent by Nicholas had taken effect. Camilla, on the other hand, seemed like specter inside mansion. She stopped wearing makeup, barely left room, and each time she crossed paths with Nicholas or Isabella, lowered gaze. No longer remained traces of that arrogant woman who dominated parties with shiny dresses. One Saturday afternoon, Nicholas decided hour had come to end everything. He had waited patiently, letting truth filter through city, but now must directly confront woman who had betrayed trust and mistreated daughter. He gathered Camilla in main living room. Isabella remained in kitchen with Mrs. Mercedes, playing with rescued dolls. Atmosphere was dense, impregnated with smell of old wood and fireplace ashes. "Camilla," Nicholas began with firm voice, "what you did here has no forgiveness." She raised gaze with reddened eyes. "And what do you want me to say?" she replied, trying to sound defiant. "Life with you was unbearable. Always traveling, always thinking about business. I was alone, bored. I found another way to fill void." "Fill void?" Nicholas hit table with palm. "You turned my house into brothel. Left my daughter without food, under rain. You were going to lock her in asylum to silence her." Camilla stepped back, seeking support in sofa back. "Isabella isn't my daughter. Never was," she spat. "I didn't have to carry burden of her." Words thundered in room like lightning. Nicholas remained motionless, frozen, while remembering girl's face when hugging him, saying, "Dad, I thought you'd never come back." That innocence didn't deserve to be hurt again. "You'll never approach her again," he said finally with low but cutting voice. "From today, you're out of this house." Camilla opened eyes wide. "You're going to throw me out?" "Yes, and besides, you'll have to face consequences of your actions." At that moment, Mercedes entered room, leading Isabella by hand. Girl, in simple flowered dress with hair pulled in ponytail, looked at father, then at Camilla shyly. "Dad, won't she yell anymore?" she asked with threat of voice. Nicholas knelt before her and caressed face. "Never again," Camilla wanted to reply, but Mercedes took envelope from apron pocket. "Sir, I found this in lady's desk. It's list with names and amounts, all clients who paid to enter here. Includes politicians, doctors, judges. It's definitive proof." Camilla tried to snatch envelope, but Nicholas was faster. He took it and kept it in jacket. "See, Camilla? You can no longer escape. Each name here will be your condemnation. Woman collapsed in armchair with face buried in hands. Not remained in her trace of arrogance once had. Isabella clung to father's arm. "Dad, now we're going to be together?" He smiled tenderly, though inside torn by pain of all lived. "Yes, little one. Now nothing and nobody can separate us." Nearby church bell rang, announcing 7 in evening. Outside, on cobblestone streets, families prepared for dinner. Smell of ham and freshly made tapas floated in air, reminding Nicholas what home truly meant: warmth, security, and shared love. Camilla raised head one last time with muted voice. "You're going to destroy my life." "No, Camilla," he responded, looking at her. "You destroyed it yourself day you forgot what it was to be human." Tension in living room reached maximum point. Mercedes took Isabella back to kitchen to protect her from final confrontation. Nicholas remained there firm, knowing next step would mark true outcome. Camilla's expulsion was done at dawn. Nicholas handed her suitcase with minimal belongings and opened door. She left without looking back, wrapped in silence, speaking of defeat. Echo of heels got lost in damp street after night rain. Inside house, air seemed lighter. Isabella, still sleepy, descended stairs with teddy bear in arms. "She's gone?" she asked with soft voice. "Yes, daughter," Nicola responded, crouching to hug her. "From today, only we remain." Mrs. Mercedes, with eyes shining with emotion, served simple breakfast, bread with olive oil and freshly cut tomatoes accompanied by hot chocolate. Girl laughed, dipping bread in cup, small gesture returning normalcy to life. Following days brought calm. Nicholas walked with Isabella hand in hand to school, and neighbors began greeting respectfully, seeing him in square. Some even told him in low voice, "You did right thing." Meanwhile, families of men involved dealt with own collapses. It wasn't Nicholas punishing them, but revealed truth. He concentrated on essential, learning to be father. One Sunday afternoon, father and daughter walked along River Charles, setting sun-dyed sky orange and golden tones. Isabella, in new shoes father had bought her, jumped from stone to stone laughing. "Dad, do you promise you'll never leave me alone again?" Nicholas stopped, lifted her in arms, and looked in eyes. "I promise you, Isabella. From now on my life is with you." Wind carried distant sound of guitars and clapping from group singing in square. Boston continued its course, but in that instant, for Nicholas everything reduced to daughter's laughter and warmth of new future. Mrs. Mercedes caught up with them carrying basket with freshly bought donuts. They shared snack by river while city lights began turning on. For first time in long while, Nicholas felt word home had meaning again. As afternoon fell, image of father and daughter walking together along Charles River remained engraved as true outcome of this story. It wasn't trials, nor names exposed in newspapers, nor doors that closed that gave meaning to everything. It was Isabella's light laughter. It was Nicholas's silent promise never to leave her alone again. And in that simplicity was hidden true victory. Tell me, dear listener, if this story has moved you, leave 1 in comments. If it hasn't reached your heart, or you believe it could be improved, mark 0. Your opinion is always light that guides us, because an end lesson is clear. Love has strength to redeem even where wounds seemed impossible to heal. Simple kindness, like neighbor offering bread to girl or elderly woman keeping notebook of proof, can change entire destinies. Doesn't this remind you of life itself? Just like lamp someone leaves lit in window of townhouse, small and discreet but capable of guiding lost traveler in middle of night, so also gesture of tenderness can save us from darkness. And it's that everyone, without exception, deserves love, dignity, and opportunity to form home. Today, looking back, we understand true wealth isn't in luxury cars, expensive suits, or ostentatious dinners. It's in hands seeking each other, embraces that heal, voice of child laughing again after crying. And perhaps, dear listener, you yourself have lived moments when simple decision, giving forgiveness, extending hand, listening patiently, changed course of family or life. Take instant to reflect. What does word home mean to you? If this story left echo in heart, share it with someone you love. And remember, true strength of family is in choosing each day to live not only for oneself, but for those around us.